You're such an asshole.
Hi, asshole. Returning client from Canada. I'm sorry for your loss. You're there. I would like to hear your advice on how a black pillar can be less black pilled when it comes to dating, even though bad experiences is pretty much all he's known his entire life. I have a question. Does that make you black pill? My career, man, could just be, you know, minus 10 years, right? In the past, me saying X, people saying, oh my God, you're such a pessimist. Why do you hate puppies and children? And then 10 years go by and it's present. They're like, oh my God, how'd you know it was going to happen? I am not pessimistic. Yeah, Paul Bauer just reviewed my book. He said I was negative. Really? With my track record, Paul, you're gonna say I'm negative? Why do I keep proven right? Never deny your real world experiences. Never. Are you really black? Are you really negative? Half the time things come up better than you thought, or are you predicting things pretty damn well? I don't think you're black pill. Advice on how a black pillar can be less black pilled when it comes to dating, even though bad experiences is pretty much all he's known his entire life. 31 male, in good shape, working at a trade for a major company, making close to 6 figs and looking to get a second job. Where have all the good men gone? Living with parents, no debt, marriage or kids, nor do I want any. I'm also 5'6", you son of a bitch. How dare you, sir? All that stuff in the way all that, what you think, you thought you could come into my house with all that hard work and a real trade and good finances, and you thought you could be 5'6"? I know not a day goes by I don't curse God for this hell inflicted upon me. All right, that sounds a little negative. Love hunting, fishing, video games, hitting the gym, going to concerts, and cooking. Background: dating was good in my late teens and early 20s. I had good relationships at that, but I was a miserable, weak, desperate little pussy. After my last relationship in 2016, I was off and on the dating apps constantly. All right, so just so you know, in the before time, back in those days, online dating was that was still in its glory days. You could actually, this is crazy. Some people aren't going to believe it. There was a time you could find dates on dating apps. I know, crazy. But that's about the time where it started to drop off. Off and on the dating apps constantly. I was either not getting responses, got matches that never messaged me, or the girls would make no effort whatsoever. All right, so that's not black pill. That's not bad luck. That's normal. Basically, no success, and obviously, it had destroyed my mental health. All right, you are starting to sound like a little bitch right now. How does that destroy your mental health? What is every man's mental health destroyed? Girls say no. That's it. Online dating. It was how did you let that destroy your mental health? I'm actually going to go along with that. I think you are a little irrationally black-pilled. Why would normal everyday female behavior ruin your mental health? You have every right to get pissed. You have every right to be frustrated and wasting your time. That's every guy. But why is it ruining your mental health? Oh my God, girls said no to the majority of dates. That's been since time immemorial. You should be hardwired for that. Tried going to social events a handful of times, though. It didn't work out as I am extremely introverted and misanthropic. Okay, tried going to social. Well, why? Did you spit in people's faces? I mean, for example, I don't like concerts. I still went to the Cowboy Bebop concert. I enjoyed it. Yeah, there were things I didn't like having to sit in line standing. All right, but I still enjoyed it. I wasn't like pissing on people. I mean, I kept it together. The few dates I did get, I got catfished or the girl just strung me along for a free meal. 2020 was the year I became red pill and stopped dating in general due to frustration to focus on myself. That's the first step. Making progress. And you have. I mean, look at all the other successes. You got your good career, you're making money. 2023, I tried a few speed dating events with no success. So just like everybody else, the women were either ugly, boring, or both. Just like everybody else. You're saying like, man, I went to college and it wasn't worth it. Just like everybody else. My problem is now I'm kind of thinking of getting back into online dating, but I don't know how to do it without feeling exhausted resentment towards women. It's very simple. You don't do it. And I would not recommend online dating. I'll just be level with you here. You're 5'6". That's the number one problem, statistically speaking. And the dating apps have become absolute trash. Now, if you're exceptionally good looking and tall and blah, 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 and you got a good profile, then you're going to have more success, obviously. This isn't to say, even at 5'6", you couldn't have a dating app or dating profile. It's just I want to put too much effort into it. Put together a good profile, 5'6". Here's where I am. I don't want to get married. Don't want to have kids. Da da da. It's not going to hurt you to throw the line in the water there, right? But I wouldn't be swiping all the time. And then another thing, remember, increasingly so, these dating apps are not designed to get you dates. They're designed to extract as much money from you. And that, I don't think women pay for dating apps. I could be wrong. Maybe they do more modernly. But right there, the dating app, I think Hinge is the only one worth a damn right now. I would have no expectations because dating apps have horrible statistics for men to get dates. And they're increasingly just using it as like a slot machine to get you addicted to gamble. And maybe I get a hot girl now. Swipe, swipe, swipe. There's fuckery going on behind that. I would just avoid the dating apps in general. Or if you do, very minimal investment, have a great dating profile. That's it. Check in once a week. Nothing. Swipe on the girls you think are cute, whatever, and be done with it. I would put no emotional investment or energy into it. And that's how you do it without feeling exhausted or resentment towards women. I know you said women can't control the standards / pickiness, but I disagree. I think they just don't want to because nobody's ever called them out on their BS to do their solipsism, even though they themselves are just NPCs. I would like a relationship at some point, but I don't want to look at women through a negative lens, especially given what I now know. All right. So then you got to wait until you got not necessarily a positive view of women, but one that is not filled with so much resentment because you're not going to be able to go out with a girl like that. In other words, instead of taking them at their word, like I'm on a dating app, therefore I want to go on a date and date, and then therefore they don't, but then they don't go on a date. You're like, you lied, you stupid bitch. Women lie. Women, whatever, they obscure, they subterfuge, they gray area, they emotion. All right. And that's just what they do. Now, you should be furious with everyone that told you otherwise up front. But women and men are interchangeable, and they're going to they're equal to men in all regards. So they're going to ask you, and they're going to be honest. They're going to be forthright, and they're going to use the English language. I mean, Donovan Sharp got guffed, but man, his courses on womanese, they're not wrong, So be upset that you were lied to. Now that you're lied to, it looks like you're still going through some red pill rage, which is normal. It's all part of the process. But inevitably, like the stages of grief, you come to acceptance. And then you say, okay, what are women really? I don't give a shit what they say. What are they really like? And once you get to that stage, then maybe you're ready to go out with girls. But yeah, right now I wouldn't say you're ready to go out with women. I think they just don't want to because nobody's ever called them out. Oh, one thing before let me go. I know you said women can't control their standards / pickiness, but I disagree. I think they just don't want to because nobody's ever called them out on their BS and do their solipsism, even though they themselves are just NPCs. What's interesting is the last time you tried dating, which was 2016. I will agree that women's opinion and view of men has changed, even in that short 10-year period of time. There seemed to be like the last vestiges of women sort of wanting to go out with men was 2014, 2015. And if you go further back in time, it was more so. But that's 8 years ago, 2016. No, that's 9 years ago, 2016. 10 plus when we start getting into the days where there seem to be some last remaining vestiges of women's interest in men. Women's opinion of men have changed. You're not wrong about that. That it has definitely changed significantly these past 10 years, and negatively so. So everything you're witnessing is not necessarily due to you, if that makes it feel better. Your experiences are not unique. It's not you. This is everyone. So don't misdiagnose or think it's something personal. This is everybody. Everybody's in this boat. So you're not wrong there. I would like a relationship, but at some point, but I don't want to look at women through the negativity lens, especially given what I now know. Did you ever feel this way towards women when you were younger, and how did you deal with it? Let me know how much I owe. Not really, because I didn't know what I know now. I didn't know what to know back then. And I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought that there was something wrong. I inevitably did get to the point. I did the hardest question I ever had to answer. It's one of the most popular videos where it's like, what if I'm not wrong? What if everybody else is? And as I've gotten older, I have gotten angry and even furious with how I was lied to in the past. But when I was younger, I didn't really feel that way towards women because I didn't know. And also, I I don't think women are malicious in this. I know some are. Obviously, you're feminists that they get their pride on hating men. That's how they define themselves. It's actually a sick fucking value system where I'm not those rat bastards over there. Like Green Bay Packer fans getting excited because they're not Chicago Bears fans, even though the Green Bay Packers didn't win anything recently anyway. Um, it's irrational. I've never uh, I've never had necessarily a negative lens through women. I have had an increasingly empirical and critical one. However, I slowly started to understand, I guess we would say, women's true intentions, motives, or whatever, or nature. So I never had the as much of a red pill rage phase as you're describing. I just kind of slow, like, I guess, to pat myself on the back, I was part of the vanguard. We started figuring it out, comparing notes. Oh, when I got stood up, oh yeah, of course, I was lied to. But then we started putting things together. Oh, wait, you got stood up too? Was it just me? Oh, wait, she divorced you, and that's common, and that happened. This, oh, it's not me. Then you start saying, okay, well, it ain't us, so it's got to be them. Well, what's happened? And then through decades of reconstituting wisdom and theories and comparing notes, we've kind of like, oh, this is their true nature. Then what's really funny is you go back and look at whatever Heinlein or the Greek philosophers, you find, oh yeah, they knew this shit a long time ago. And I think we're just happy to start figuring some things out and realizing we weren't the crazy ones. And then now, like in a very practical sense, all right, this is how this puzzle is unlocked, or at least how the puzzle works. So not so much that. I never had that negative feeling. But here's the other thing, and this is the stoicism you need. I'll have some references linked below. But whether it's reading the Stoics, or I recommend the Way of Monkey book. Do you control these women's actions? Do you control how women feel about men? You don't. Even if women's opinion of men has decayed and deteriorated and lessened in the past 10 years, which I agree with, that's not our control. It's not, it never was. They're separate human beings. And what I've found, and maybe not really recently, I've had a gal for quite some time, but when I started realizing, and I remember I was 22, and I was getting shot down the majority of the time, like everyone does. I stopped and I had a bit of an epiphany. I'm like, you know what? I graduated without debt. I busted my ass off, worked full time with the school full time. I got a high GPA, and girls are still shooting me down. Fuck them. It was just a little bit. I remember I was 22. I was like, you still shoot me down? Really? That night when I've told it many times before, I got shot down by 31 women when I went to a jazz club to dance. I'm right, they're wrong. I was making good money, a property owner, teaching dance classes. I was in a suit. I was in good shape. I wanted to see if they wanted to dance. They are wrong. I am right. And I kind of got to the point of realizing people are going to do what they're going to do. And you don't control that. And every man alive today, at least in the West, has a choice. Yes, I know you're biologically hardwired to want to go after women. A lot of men are biologically hardwired to derive nearly all your purpose, meaning, and joy in life having a woman in your life, or at least getting laid and having children. In spite of that, though, you must have the iron will and control over your thoughts and emotions to realize what you do and do not control. So, in spite of being hardwired and genetic to want women in your life or have sex or play a significant role in your life, you have to ask yourself the question today, now, in 2025, do the majority of women want the majority of men? And the answer is no. And you get to make a choice. You can howl at the moon and get pissed off at them and angry and rage that they don't want to play. You want to play baseball. They don't want to play baseball. They want to play checkers. Get furious with them. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they don't want to get married. They don't want to date the average guy. They don't want to marry you. They whatever. And again, you're not alone in this boat. It's not just you. Generally, women of your age and generation, they have less interest in men. They have every right to that choice. It's up to you guys to accept that fact. It's like getting a cancer diagnosis. You can get pissed off and howl at the moon all you want. You still got cancer at the end of the day. And that's the fact you got to deal with. As I think a much healthier option is to say, okay, you don't want guys. I will accept that and make decisions based on that fact. I'm not going to get angry at you. I'm not going to get furious at being rejected, online or not. I'm not going to have resentment towards women. It's for whatever reason, women aren't interested in men as much. And now, knowing that fact, how am I going to spend the rest of my life to make the most out of it? And now you start to see what I think is a very intelligent move for those who are very serious. You want to have kids and get married. It's not the West. You got to go overseas. So you got the passport pros, which comes with its own problems. I wrote a book called The Menu: Life Without the Opposite Sex. Again, buddy, you're not unique. You're not special. This is happening to everyone. Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan, the big, presumably intelligent money on Wall Street, they're forecasting 45, the rise of the she economy. They're forecasting 45% of women of marrying age will never be married. That means 45% of you boys aren't going to be married or with a woman. That's a lot of people. That's a lot. That's a lot. It's not you. What are you going to do about it? You're going to get pissed off? You're going to rage? All you're doing is making your day worse. All you're doing is stressing yourself out and increasing your cortisol and increasing your chance of stroke. You're lessening the time you got on this planet. A lot of men, and increasingly in the world, if you start looking at different behaviors, we just did a video on China. A lot of you guys are going to have to realize you were just born at the wrong time. And a lot of you are not going to have women in your lives. And that's okay. So what are you going to do with the rest of your life? And I'm sure, I make it sound like I didn't have like this rage or this anger. I did. Every guy does, because you're genetically hardwired. Parents are still telling their boys stupid, dumbass ideas. Oh, you get married and have kids. Go to college. I'm a boomer parent. All right. Yeah. Okay. You also believed in Santa Claus. All right. Now we kind of know, buddy. We all kind of know now. All right. Women just aren't that interested in guys. This generation, this past 3 generations, whatever, this year, this epoch. You want to, God almighty, and think about that. Not that you want to do this, but the alternative is, what are you going to do? Argue with a woman to like you? Oh my God, I got so much more important shit to do than that. I don't want to. Are you going to argue with friends to like hang out with you? You're not wrong. Like, the reasons women don't want to hang out with men, which truly I don't know, but I don't care. But I'm going to bet they're wrong or they're irrational. And inevitably, and over a long enough period of time, it will lead women to regret that decision and they'll be miserable. All right. I can agree with you on that they're probably wrong and that it doesn't matter. They made the choice. And I'm not going to argue with a girl. No, you really ought to not get your MBA, and you really ought to dress in this sexy lingerie outfit and serve me drinks and blowjobs. I remember one guy, just so you know, I think they believe, I don't think it's a fake. I don't think women like men that much. There was one gal presumably claimed to love me. And I still got the letter somewhere where, and there are reasons and drama and crap. And but I thought, well, maybe that was the one that got away, And then I got this letter from her and she's like, just decided to give me the 3rd degree out of nowhere. Like, you're depraved and shallow and you expect women to wear lingerie and serve you drinks. I'm like, yeah, actually I do. And the resilience where, you know, it's this wasn't a feminist either. This is a kind of a normal girl, I guess. There's this natural resistance to, frankly, making a man happy, right? Always arguing and the percentage of women that are like, oh my God, I really like you and I'm gonna make your life better. That is so rare. I think that whatever reason outside of our control, they just don't like guys that mind. The majority of guys, if you had to ask me, now the right guy comes along, of course, things change. But generally, women find it degrading to wear lingerie, serve you a drink, or let you live out your sexual fantasy. I think they find it degrading. All right. Right guy comes along, though. Whatever. What? Gag balls? Whatever thing? Whatever. Let's go. You're hot. You're a drug dealer. But it's not you. And men have been trying to argue and figure this shit out for ages. They haven't figured it out. You know what? It's not our problem. It's not your problem. Your problem is, okay, I would have liked to have steak. They're out of steak on the menu at the restaurant. What am I going to do? I'm going to get some chicken. I'm going to get some fish. I'm going to get some creme brulee. Found out I like that as a dessert. That's good stuff, creme brulee. I don't know if you guys ever had it. It's got to be done right, but it's the good shit. And you're going to have a good life anyway. And that's the entire founding point of my book called The Menu: Life Without the Opposite Sex. Buddy, how much tooth pulling do you want to keep on doing with these girls to go out with you? Right? You're going to waste your life banging your head against this wall. And the two solutions I got for you is to let it fucking go and not let them bother you or lessen your life anymore. Respect the decision too, right? Just respect it. Don't get angry at them. And then if you really want to get married and have kids, you're going to have to go overseas. That's just what it's going to be. You don't have the time. That's rapidly what I'm coming to the conclusion. Is like, I want to get a wife and kids. Well, it's going to take a while for courtship and to have the kids. You better start now. And you really don't have time to be fishing in the sewer for a marriage material northern, right? You got to go where the traditional minded gals are. So that's solution number one. Solution number two, you got to accept that women generally have rejected and rebuked men in this nation on the whole, and that you are better spending your time doing what you're doing now, working hard, paying off your debts. You say you have no debts, saving up money. Sounds like you got a great trade, working up your money to go overseas. I mean, I got a lot of respect for Andrew at Legal Mindset. I don't think he's necessarily looking for women, but he's overseas and he's doing his thing. I'm like, man, the guy's significantly younger than me. Look at how he did what he wanted to do in life. That's what you should be doing, buddy. Living your life. That's why I got linked down below. Also, The Menu: Life Without the Opposite Sex, to go through all this other stuff that you can be doing to have fun. But really, if you got that itch, you got to have a woman in your life, you're going to have to go overseas. You're going to have to find traditional women. You just don't have the time for that shit. Not here in the United States anyway. And things might change, a super recession. I think girls become a little more nicer to tradesmen such as yourself. But yeah, man, you were born at the wrong time. It's not your time, but you're still here. God gave you, or nature gave you conscience and sentience. Do you want to be pissed off for all of it, or do you want to go have some fun? And, the girls are like, I'm going to go. Do you want to go? No, I'm good. Cool. See you. Oh, okay. Bye. Party. Oh, my God, Jimmy, didn't go out. Drink myself to sleep. I get right in the man. And then the only other thing I'd recommend, I have it linked down below as well, is Zero World Problems, right? Which focuses on things you can do outside of money and finances to increase your standards of living. So the menu is kind of like fun, like a super long bucket list of stuff. Zero World Problems, like, okay, what about this financial thing? Do you got that financial thing done? What about this non-financial thing? Do you got that there? What about your legal system? You got that taken care of? It will give you so much shit to do. At minimum, there's 4 years of tasks to do in that book. That isn't the fun shit that's in the menu. So, have a balance of both. You won't be thinking about girls. You'll be working on your life, improving it, and you'll have a tremendously good standard of living. And then you got this enjoyable life. And then you know what happens? Then all of a sudden, you meet this cute girl down in New Caledonia. I think it's its own country. and she really likes you and you're financially stable. And now you're able to like receive her and maybe have a family, buy some property down in the Southern Pacific, whatever it is, because you wouldn't have been wasting your time. I would not. I mean, I know I said it doesn't hurt to have a dating profile. I wouldn't even waste your time, man. Don't waste your time with the online dating apps. You see a cute girl, sure, ask her out in person, run your day game. I'd be pulling away because you're not in the right mental state to be going out with a girl. In the rare chance you find a good quality one, which they exist in this country, but the rare chances, go get my book, The Book of Numbers, Analyzing ROI in the Pursuit of Women. All right. So I won't worry about it. Get squared away. Learn to read some of those books. Like, oh, okay. And then make your progress. All right. Let's go to the super chats quickly. We got 3 here. Mark, $5 just drove through the Black Hills area, South Dakota, 212 and I-90. 212. That's the north part and I-90. Oh, you're by Belle Fourche. Awesome area. It's kind of like Colorado without libs. I highly recommend trucking for reconnaissance. Magnum Opus, $10. If you really want to date, you need to have a life outside of women. A lot of men try to logic their way into understanding women. The majority of the time, it won't make sense. Use your time wisely. Yeah, if the more you just go do your own thing, the better you're going to be off with women. And Thomas Rao, $5. Bumble and Hinge. Just enjoy the ride. Don't expect much long term. She's not yours. Just your turn. Accept it. Work hard. Pay off debt. Peace. That's it. Cappy's got to eat. See you guys later. Too.